With some massive events already behind us this year, I decided to make a video I've wanted to do for a while now. If Valorant had a World Cup, where the best of the best from each country would compete, who would win? So I decided to put together what I think are the top 10 countries with the best talent, and then give you my predictions. After which I also want to hear yours, so make sure you let me know if you think I'm wrong. But before we dive into the teams, I want to also say that the players I had are based on roles that they've played this year so far in this meta. So while roles for the given teams might not line up perfectly, I'll try to make it as realistic of a team as I'm able to. But what you are able to do is get rid of bad ping. And I know how bad poor ping can ruin your Valorant game. That's why GearUp was invented. GearUp is a simple and lightweight app that instantly improves your ping in your ranked matches, without any worry of crazy lag spikes during your most important duels. With GearUp, you can no longer blame the ping for your losses, but you can hide your shame in your home server by easily switching between regions in GearUp, thanks to their worldwide array of top-tier servers, giving you the best possible ping every time. I've even seen some big influencers and pros use it before. Also, don't worry about Riot's anti-cheat accidentally flagging you, as it's completely safe to use as it just gives your connection the quickest and cleanest route to the game. So make sure you check out GearUp in my description or pinned comment to try for yourself so you no longer have to deal with non-optimal gameplay again with GearUp. Now let's get into our number 10 country, the Philippines. This team is one of the more confusing ones. They actually have a few promising players like Patman and Wild Oreo from Team Secret, but where this team really falls flat is their lack of IGLs. Ever since Jesse Vash stepped down from Team Secret 2 months ago, the Philippines haven't seen a leader capable of pulling the team up. Still, they finished in the top 10 here, thanks to a wealth of players growing on Valorant's biggest stage. Outside of Patman, the final piece of Paper Rex's championship winning team, they lack the star power needed to climb higher on this list. Moving on to another country with high-level players but lack depth to finish any higher, Poland. It's a little surprising as the only EU country here, they boast two very notable players in Kayak and Patitek, plus a solid IGL in Mosley from Apex, who's been at a top European level since 2021. I'm also a fan of Profik from BBL. He looks like a solid, even above average smokes player for this rising team. Their flex player Kamek would hold his own too. While Poland isn't a jaw-dropping roster, they form a surprisingly competitive squad many might overlook. Their shortcomings appear when you consider the team's combined experience. Patitek only broke out last year as a sub, and Kayak is a full rookie. His inexperience even cost Fnatic critical moments in last grand finals. So I'll play it safe and place him just above the Philippines, but just behind another Asian country. At number 8, Indonesia, a country that recently saw its best player lift a trophy. On paper, I have a feeling that this team might not click. Having Forsaken leading gives real national pride, especially reuniting him with Moniet, but they drop lower because the rest of the players are from Boom, an Indonesian org. Despite high hopes from them this season, they haven't performed as expected. The other players lack the firepower to escape the middle of the Pacific League. That said, they do have a Masters winning leader, and honestly one of the game's most flexible and talented players right now, plus other solid tier 1 talent. That lifts them above earlier countries lacking a central star, but not above others who, while maybe misses someone as impressive as Forsaken, are just a more complete team. Now on to number 7, the friendly yet competitive Canadians. First off, this one doesn't fully work mainly because they lack a true IGL, so I decided to unretire FNS for this. As the rest of the team, solid young players EU, Xander, and Mata, with high ceilings if they can keep progressing in the VCT, would cover his lack of fragging. The main heart would surprisingly be Jonah P, consistently great in his roles over the years. This team is neck and neck with Indonesia, but we'll have to give Canada a slight edge purely because of FNS's IGLing, even if he's retired. In a real match, I think they'd win 6 out of 10 times. Still, these two countries are similar, making it a real toss-up. Reaching number 6, China. Despite only getting into the game in 2022, they've shown incredible ability to catch up, warranting this high finish. Last year, this would have been just the EDG roster. But now, only 2 make the list. Nobody is IGL, and of course Kang is entry because I can't really take him off of this. There's a lot of really good entry players in China too, but Kang still has to stay in this. The rest came from other teams. Russia from Bilibili, Viva from Xylao, and Lysor from Wolves. This team shows China's evolution and leveling playing field. EDG is no longer the lone dominant force, acting as China's all-star team. Different players are shining across different teams, highlighted by Underdog's Wolves' top 3 finish. What stops them from breaking into the top 5? These players need to improve themselves more consistently on the biggest stages. We saw the other 2 Chinese teams crash and burn, while Wolves had flourished. More consistency is needed before China can be considered a top 3 country right now. Now, at the halfway point, I may anger some hardcore FPS fans here. Brazil takes the 5th spot. After Loud disbanded and changed their roster up, Brazil hasn't been the same, but their top players haven't gotten any worse. Here, 3 players from that legendary Loud team reunite: Les, Aspas, and Bancada, which alone pushes them this high. They do have a weaker IGL in Artizine, but he's been doing pretty good this year with a stronger roster, so we could replicate that here, especially with new talent like Cortezia joining. Overall, this team shows Brazil is doing fine as a region, blending old stars with rising new ones. Yet looking at the remaining 4 countries, I couldn't put Brazil any higher. The others boast hyper-talented players with minimal inexperience, and you'll see exactly why Brazil just missed out. With the final few, the competition just gets razor thin, and it kinda takes more than 5 good players. It demands a team brimming with talent to gain an edge. The country just off the podium, the AIM Demons Turkey at number 4. Let me say, watching Woot and Rians play with Alfir would be pure fun. Combine that with Mr. Fallen as IGL, and you might have the Turkish team that could finally deliver internationally. That's 3 major tournament wins, plus a great blend of young talent and established stars. Even their weaker link, Ruxic on Smokes, is one of EMEA's most competent. Turkey's talent pool is deep too, with players like Hero, Elite, and Lewin not even making the cut. What keeps them off the podium? Inconsistency from players like Rayans and Woot, or times when Mr. Fawn looks lost and the team just falls apart. For now, they stay at number 4, but by the season's end, I can see Turkey moving past the next country. The bronze medal goes to a country that can't even technically be in the esport, yet its players are still flourishing. Russia takes 3rd. Any org fielding this roster would be living a dream. Imagine Sugetsu, Something, Xiao, and Chronicle running down every other team. The clutches would be insane and constant. I can't see them finishing anywhere but here. Plus, people underrate their IGL Crystal. I've championed him since he fragged out while leading Zai Lao to Ascension victory last year, leaving only when Rarga was decided to be their import. Now as a rookie IGL on the biggest level with Global, he's doing everything he can to elevate them. Surrounded by players who can single-handedly carry a team to major wins, even ignoring the depth like Cloud and Nats on the bench, focus purely on calling. Without a super high level IGL to compete though, they fall short of the top 2. Finally, we have the 2 countries most likely to compete for the World Cup right now: the US and South Korea. These regions have dominated the last few years as the game matured. Let's break down each roster to see who hypothetically would lift the trophy. Each role is incredibly close. Stax vs Valen are both elite. Zekin vs Texture is hard to call, as either could look like the world's best player any given day. Leaf vs Meteor are 2 ultra flexible stars. The 2 areas less close, RB vs Trent, or Nary if you prefer, favors the US, while Karen beats Bang or Vic on Smokes. But the deciding factor for me is recent major event performance. Since Madrid, NA hasn't won, while Genji, T1, PaperX, and EEG won the other ones, meaning China and the Pacific hold the keys. This suggests that at the top level, teams improve by practicing against the best. China scrims with Pacific, and the Pacific scrims with them, so South Korean players likely get higher quality practice than top US players, who mainly scrim themselves or LATAM teams. While that's getting into the weeds of it, it could be the difference between 2 otherwise perfectly matched rosters. But by the narrowest of margins, I crown the land of the gamers, South Korea, as the current Valorant World Cup champion. Have you really paid attention to how PaperX won Masters Toronto? Well, I made a video all about the micro moments from that grand finals against Fnatic that you might have missed or overlooked. Make sure you click on that right here, as well as subscribe so you don't miss out on anything.